have just started a brand new Center for Border and Global Journalism. So we hope you will be hearing a lot more about that in the days coming up, years coming up. Today, I just want to introduce our speakers today, and by way of introducing them is to give you just a little bit of background very quickly about, well, first of all, I have to put a map up because I can't not have a map. But this, the colleagues I'll be introducing today, our young Afghan colleagues, we came to know over the past 3 years working on a partnership program between the School of Journalism here at the University of Arizona and Nangarhar University, which is in Jalalabad here, which is this little spot between Kabul and Pakistan on the Khyber, near the Khyber Pass. And this was a 3-year partnership. It's coming to the end, actually, and it was part of a larger grouping of journalism programs in the U.S. partnered with programs in Afghanistan. And so Ball State, for example, was hooked up with Sheikh Zayed University and Bug. There were a lot of, not in Bug, or Host. There were a number of these partnerships, and also through in other disciplines, English, agriculture, mining. Here at the U of A, we've done several of these projects. Suzanne Bott has headed up the architectural preservation program that was partnered with Kabul University. We actually have developed a bit of a little cabal of Afghani experts here, which all began, of course, with Latifa Rawan, who's the Middle East librarian, and she developed the Afghan Digital Libraries, which is quite a good repository of information and archival information about Afghanistan, including all our journalism materials. So we have a bit of a history. Just very quickly, Nangarhar, it's the second largest university in the country. It's considered the heart of Pashtun intellectual culture in Afghanistan. And we were, I've been there a couple times to visit, very difficult circumstances that these people are trying to teach in. We have nothing to complain about, even though we do all the time here. But this is their classrooms. There was maybe 50, 70 guys stuffed in this little room. A rather bleak shortage of women, I might say, but they're working on it. More classes outside. The goals of this partnership between Nangarhar University and University of Arizona have shifted a bit. When we first got the grant, we didn't know there was actually going to be a program started. We were only going to develop several classes for them. And then suddenly the ministry said, oh yes, you can have a journalism program. So they started hiring professors to teach, and they brought in hundreds of students. So the first year they took in 150 students, and then they had a freshman class, and then the second year, of course, they have those 150 students move on, and another 150 come in. And so these guys were all teaching in huge lecture, well, in small rooms, but huge numbers of students, like 150 students. So in trying to teach them journalism, which is a skills-based subject. So one of our big challenges has been to try to develop ways for them to teach skills classes in a lecture hall setting. And we've had a lot of assistance with that. Kim Newton in the back there and Jamil have done a lot of curriculum development and a lot of work with professors, both here and in trainings that we've done overseas in a variety of places. We also partner with the Institute for War and Peace Reporting, and you will be hearing from Noor Dawari, who's the program coordinator for us, but we kind of seconded him from the Institute for War and Peace Reporting based in Kabul. They've been on the ground there since '01, training journalists. They have a lot of experience. We try to help develop the program a little bit at Nangarhar. We set up a computer lab for students. You have hundreds of students and no computer access for them. Some of them have laptops, and increasingly students have laptops. But we made sure the professors had laptops. We made sure they had data projectors so that they could do things like this in a big lecture hall. Cameras and audio equipment. Mostly we worked with them to develop syllabi for classes and handouts and assignments, instructional materials, instructional videos, PowerPoint kids. We decided, this is Noor and I, early days, 3 years ago, and when I went to Jalalabad, and I really don't like traveling like that, so didn't go back a whole lot. We would do training outside, and Kim's done a lot of training with us in visual journalism in Dubai and India and other countries. And we did training this August in Istanbul, and then we brought 2 of the professors back here with us. And they have been here for 2 months, working with Kim on visual journalism, working with Janine on developing pedagogy skills, again, in particular, how to deal with these large. So she's been dragging them around campus to see like really spectacular professors who do wonderful things with 500 students in a lecture hall. They've also been doing getting leadership training. We visited other journalism programs, and they've been working very diligently on English. And I have to give them a lot of credit for being willing to stand up here in front of you all and give you a talk in English, because I sure could not do it in Pashto, and I probably could not even do it in Spanish, which is my best second language. English is probably their third or fourth language. So we're really happy that they're willing to talk to us today. And so we'll give little presentations and then have questions. And the professors here are Afsar, Sadiq, Shinwari, who is a new professor, 2 years, a couple of years at Nangarhar University. Yeah. And Professor Jamil, Popalzai, who is also a professor at Nangarhar University, and their class has just started, so they're leaving Monday to go back and teach after we've been stuffing them full of information for weeks. And then Noor Dawari will also talk to us about media development in Afghanistan. But I'll turn this over now to Professor Shinwari to talk very briefly about the history of Afghan media. Great.
Thank you. Thank you for Zanger. Thank you for everybody to come here. Thank you for sweet guests. By the lack of time, I want to go fast in my presentation. Journalism has over 100 years history in Afghanistan, but the path has been unstable and the political system changed over the years. So has the rules and situation of Afghanistan.
It's already out. They're open, we just have to switch.
There have been 5 separate government systems ruling Afghanistan after today. Each has different characteristics for the news media. The history of Afghanistan. The first period was the monarchy or royal period. Journalism in this period, Amir Shali Khan brought the first printing press and he printed the first newspaper called Shamsullahar in 1873. After that, Popalzai printed the second newspaper called Jalalabad in 1906. After a long time, King Amallah Khan played in forces more than 50 laws in 1926. He was the first to publish they were the first media laws, first courts, first independent newspaper, and first radio broadcast from this time period in 1925. MENAS was the first independent newspaper published in Afghanistan. After the Royal Reign period, in 1978. In this president, the period of this president. The second period was the communist regime. Communist started from 1978 to 1992. In 1998, all media censored by the communist regime and the government controlled it. And this time, the government broadcast these information which is related to the communism. In this time, they had approximately 8 newspapers, 1 radio station, and 1 television station. Sardar Dawood was the last president of communist regime. He ended the Russian control. He ended the Russian control from the TV program and allowed the Afghan to produce the TV program, including the news. At that time, the media worked for the communism regime. The third period was the civil war in journalism. In this period was started from 1992 to 1996. During this period, all media controlled by the government. Often, most journalists want to do neighboring country because there is no peace for the journalists. The situation of this period was very dangerous for the journalists. For that, the most journalists went to neighboring country, and during the war, they did some for the TV and radio station. And that time they had just 8 print publication, 1 radio, and 1 television station. After the civil war, here was the Taliban. The Taliban controlled all the media, and there was no free media, no independent media. Taliban destroyed the television studio and even of television sets. There was punishment for those who listen to music and watch the TV. The majority of Afghan in this time listen to the radio BBC, Pashto, in Persian, Persian program. The situation of the Taliban is very dangerous for the journalism and for the journalists. And for that, the journalists also not come back to Afghanistan in this time. They had 1 radio station and 20 publications in this time. After the Taliban, they used the media just for the Islamic information, just for the propaganda and the daily news. After Taliban, the fifth period is a new period for the journalism, for the media, for the people, for the everything is for the Karzai period. So was a bright period for everything, which is belong to my brother Noor Dawari, to me, and yes, in the presentation.
Thank you, Maggy, for introducing me. Thank you, Professor Shinwari, and thank you all for coming. Since Professor Shinwari talked about the history, we might have gotten a little information about the previous history that we did not have a really good history for the media. And I've been talking about the media development since 2001 to today. 2001 followed the Taliban, and it was a new era for media in Afghanistan. Well, in 2001, right a week after the fall of the Taliban, for the first time, TV broadcasted in Kabul, and the first presenter who appeared on the face of screen was a woman without a veil on her face or a burqa on her face, which was a really hopeful message for all the Afghans. Well, this was the time when we convinced my dad and our family to buy a TV, because I was, like everybody was talking about, my friends were talking about watching TV, and they had programs, cartoons. I was only 15 that time. So my dad went and bought like a 14-inch black and white TV. That's all he could afford to buy, and we were so excited. We bought the TV, so we were not prepared to have a TV at home. We put a stack of pillows and put a TV on top of it, and we figured out, like, oh, we need an antenna for that. So my brother and I went out, found a telephone wire about like 5 to 6 meters. So we just stuck it behind the TV, and the other side was outside the window, and watched the TV. And imagine like an alien comes to this room, and we all would be looking at that. It's so strange, and we were just like watching the black and white TV for days and months, enjoying those TVs. And since it was really new, and the only programs they had were these Bollywood movies and some songs, and they were playing, and they did not have good programs for censorship, because a lot of those parts were against the culture and religion in Afghanistan. Like, they would censor those parts, so they would just put a bucket of flour in front of their just all of a sudden this cover, and we'd be so annoyed by watching that. So that was the TV start, and the first private TV channel started in 2004, which privately started they mostly had entertainment programs and some news, but then they expanded to 2 TV channels now. They have like entertainment and news, Afghan news. It's called Afghan TV. And in 2003, the first radio station started broadcast Arman FM, which now has expanded to 4 TV stations and 2 radio stations. Yeah. And today in Afghanistan we have about 75 TV channels. Most of them are private. Some 175 radio stations all over Afghanistan in 34 provinces. They have broadcast and programs. And 215 private and 90 state print publications all over Afghanistan. 5 news agencies, 7 cell phone networks. These 7 cell phone networks cover about more than 70% of the Afghan population, which is between 29 to 30 million people. And 40% of these 70% are the young generation, the ages between 15 to 24, which means they all tend to have internet on their cell phone, which is Facebook, and they all have access to that, almost in all, at least 25 provinces in Afghanistan. Then the Afghan government's role in the media development, what they have done for the media. In December 2001, as soon as Hamid Karzai got to power, one of his first speeches were freedom of expression is right for each and every Afghan citizen, which followed by the Afghan constitution in 2004 after the Loyal Jariga or Grand Assembly that they have done in 2003, which this is in Article 34, which talks about the freedom of speech. But the part I like here is every Afghan shall have the right, according to provision of law, to print and publish on subjects without prior submission to the state authorities. This part separates the media from the government, unlike the previous regimes and the governments that all the media were controlled somehow by those authorities or governments or regimes. Then followed by the constitution, the journalist associations in Afghanistan got together and developed the mass media law, which was approved in 2009. This law basically is enlightened from the article from the Constitution and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and they have kind of expanded it, which enshrines the rights of journalists in Afghanistan, their work environment, and their relations to the government, the Afghan government, and they can also defeat their rights whoever violates their rights. So they come up with these laws and talking to these association and the government authorities. Then within this short time and development or explosion in media sector, that we have hundreds of radios, TVs, and print publications. So how they got supported and funded? Well, the international communities in the countries that they were involved in Afghanistan since 2001 in peacekeeping, of course led by the US government, had a major role in funding these most of these private media outlets directly or through some of these NGOs, which is Institute for War and Peace Reporting, Media Action International from Switzerland, and the Baltic Media Center. There were other smaller organizations that worked within these ones, but these were like one of the first ones. Institute for War and Peace Reporting was the first NGO started working in Afghanistan, and since I've been working for them and I know about their operations, IWPR had created the first and the biggest, largest news agency, a private news agency. It's called Peshawar. They still run all over Afghanistan. They have branches all over Afghanistan, and they have reporters in all 34 provinces of Afghanistan. And during those first years, that these media outlets did not have a lot of reporters all over, so they would just buy footages from this news agency and stories. So they're now self-sustained, mostly, I can say. And IWPR also launched a lot of trainings for these journalists, because since my colleague talked about the history, so we did not have institutions that they trained with journalists, neither in universities nor in these NGOs. Well, these NGOs stepped in training them and showed them the international standards of media and journalism. And we also created journalism associations in all these provinces, within the provinces. Then later these associations kind of formed in between themselves, and they formed and divided into different zones now. Like there's a big association in the north, one in south, one in east and west, and central. That they all fight for their rights, and they work in groups, and they are self-sustained, and so they do not even need the trainings from these NGOs now. They have well-trained journalists within themselves. And as soon as someone new joins them, so they have those people who can train them and show them the standards. With all these developments, of course, it's not really easy to meet all these problems and challenges that we have decades, and we still have some challenges and issues that Professor Popalzai will talk about it in a second. So this is my presentation about it. That's me showing how to shoot an RPG in conference.
Thank you, my colleagues. Thank you, Maggie, to announce us here, the professor. As Dawari said, that I will talk about the challenges that Afghan media face with these challenges. Afghan media has a lot of, they face a lot of challenges like legal, political, economic, culture and social capacity imbalances that the aim point and the violence are the very big challenge for Afghan journalists and for those journalists that they work in Afghanistan, like for Afghan journalists and foreign journalists in Afghanistan. First, I want to talk about the legal challenges. Lack of access to public record is a big challenge for Afghan journalists, because in our law, we have an article that every Afghan can get the information from government, but they can't get those information that they are secret information. But here is a big difficult point that we haven't any list of those information that they are secret information. Like those information that they are secret information is not clear, that which information is secret and which information is not secret. It's a big challenge for Afghan media. And the other big legal challenge for Afghan media is like the getting of license from Afghan media, but with the by Afghan government. When the print media doesn't publish between 1 year, Afghan government can get the license back from the media. And also when the electronic media like TV or like radio doesn't broadcast between 2 years, Afghan government can get back the license from the media. It's a big challenge for Afghan media. The other challenge is political challenge. In Afghanistan, we have 110 political parties, and the huge number of parties is a big problem in Afghanistan. And the many of them have some news organization or some medias. When they want to select someone as a journalist in this organization, they select or they hire those person that they are the member of their party. It's also a big problem for us because the huge number of those persons aren't professional journalists. It's a big problem for us. Also, the influence of religious, ethnic, and tribals are also a big problem for Afghan media, because when they talk in a media, they talk very emotionally, and it's also a kind of to put pressure in a different religions and into different tribals in Afghanistan. The other challenge for our media is economic challenge. First, Afghan media, in a foundation of Afghan media, we have a lot of challenges. Media divided in a case of funding in 3 parts. One, those media that they have financially independent, and they solve their economic problem by selling advertisement. They are good media in Afghanistan. The other, those media that they found by foreign country and also by political parties. When the foreign countries stop their helping or funding with these media, and when the political party faced with an economic problem, the media will stop their broadcasting. It's also a kind of problem. And also in the provinces, US funding a lot of Afghan media. And as we know that already some of US forces, they pull out from Afghanistan. It's a big problem for us because from those parts of Afghanistan that they use army pull out, the media has a lot of economic problem, and they stop their broadcasting. It's also a problem. And the big economic problem for our media in our country is corruption. In corruption, when a journalist wants to take some money from someone, he called to the person that give me like money, I will put some pressure in the opposite side, like opposite party. He called to both of them that come to our like our TV or our radio. I will interview with you. And when both of them came in, the journalists, they take the money from some of them ask a harder question from the other party, put some pressure on it. It's also a kind of corruption. And also, when journalists like interview with a one official person or do a lot of report about that and attend a lot of press conference of an organization, at the end, official person gives some gift for the journalist. It's also a kind of corruption in our media. Why Afghan journalists take corruption from organization or from official? Because of low pay. Because in Afghanistan, like the monthly salary of every journalist may be between 300 and 500. Like this, it's also a kind of economic problem in our country. Social and cultural challenges are a big problem in media in Afghanistan. More than 65% of Afghans are illiterate, and it's a big problem for us because the culture of news writing, news reading in Afghanistan is at low level. It's also a kind of challenge. In Afghanistan, we have limitation for females journalists because of their family obligations, and also because of security problems, and also because of the hard travel from one point to the other point. Like in 2011, I worked as a news director in a work news agency in Afghanistan. In 2011, when Taliban attacked in a US embassy in Kabul, in that time, some of the Taliban attacked near to our office, and I called to one of female journalists that go and bring some information for me. She said that I can't. I said to her that why? She said that I am a female, for that I can get information from that place. It's a good big challenge for us. And also in 2009, also I worked as a news editor in that time. I called to all the journalists that came tomorrow, because tomorrow in 2009 we have a presidential election in Afghanistan. I called to all of them that came tomorrow to write some news or to do some reports. The female journalists said me that we can't because our family doesn't get us permission, because it's a holiday for us and it's very difficult for us to attend come to the office. It's a big problem in Afghanistan, or it's a big challenge in Afghanistan. The other challenge is capacity challenge. As Noor mentioned, that we have huge number of medias in Afghanistan, but we haven't any. We doesn't have those college that they graduate professional journalism. For that, we need to train them as a professional journalist, and also in our college, in our faculties of journalism, we doesn't have enough facilities. As Professor Maggy mentioned, that we are so happy that in Afghanistan we are the one of those journalism college that we have a small media center. But journalism is a practical field, and we need to do practical, and it's a big problem for us in Afghanistan that we can't work with our student in a practical case of journalism. It's also a big problem. And the very important challenges for Afghan for journalists is violence. We have different cases of violence, like murder, like injury, like arrest, threats, insults, and beaten up. In last 13 years, 45 journalists were killed in Afghanistan. That 15 of them are foreign journalists, and 10 of these journalists that they killed in Afghanistan are female journalists. From 2011 up to 2014, in Afghanistan, 14 journalists killed, and 96 were beaten up, and 90 were threatened and insulted, and 24 journalists were injured. and 16 were arrested by different groups. Many of these groups are NATO forces, Afghan government, Taliban, or some unknown groups. From these cases, 115 cases were happened by Afghan government, 23 by Taliban, 10 by NATO forces, and 57 by unknown groups. So we have like these problems in the like these challenges in our country, in our media. For the future, we hope that new government will bring some change in our law. And also we hope that not only US will remain in Afghanistan, because if they remain in Afghanistan, they will help us and they will fund the Afghan media and make the violence against journalism in Afghanistan will decrease. And also we want to continue like this program, this partnership program, that when we came to America, we doesn't have enough information in journalism. But here in these 2 months, especially I learned a lot of things from American, from US professor, from Professor Maggy, Zanger, from Professor Kim in a case of visual journalism, from Jamil in a pedagogy, because we have a lot of like this classes that we have a huge number of students. In one class we teach 140 students. It's very difficult for us, but we learn a lot of things here, and we hope for that to continue like these programs with Afghan University, especially with journalism college. And now our presentation is at the end, and I will show the picture of those journalists that they killed in Afghanistan from 2001 up to now. Thank you.